Hey fangirls and boys, this is Natalie and you're watching Whole Lotta Love, and I just wanted to say that I changed my hair color. It's crazy. It's like super pink coral lavender dream, like a fever dream basically. Like I am absolutely loving it. Anyway, with that out of the way, this video is a little bit of a haul, a little bit of a try on skincare and makeup video for the new brand ohii Beauty. So Urban Outfitters released a new brand, a new beauty brand, like their own line. It's called ohii Beauty, which is really fun. It has very minimalist packaging, reminiscent of like Glossier packaging, and they kind of put out a lot of really cool looking products at once. Some of the products that I didn't pick up was like a cream highlighter palette. I thought that was pretty cool because it's, again, I think it's kind of like a minimalist makeup thing. Like those things would kind of work well just like on bare skin, but I usually like to wear like a foundation or tinted moisturizer, so I kind of passed on that. They have mascaras in the line. I think they might have brow products. But one of the things, and they also have a translucent powder that I didn't pick up, but I did pick up a bunch of the other products. So if you are interested in seeing how I got this look and seeing some of my skincare products, me trying out new skincare, then keep on watching. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get started. I am going to wash my face because today I went to cheer my husband on for his annual 5K that he did. And while I didn't run because that's sports and I hate sports, I was very warm because I was sitting outside in the sun and there was the bleachers and things like that. So I feel a little bit grimy at this point, even though I did shower earlier. So I'm going to wash my face again. And I have here the ohii 2-in-1 Clay Cream Cleanser. So I'm gonna go ahead and read from the Urban Outfitters website the description of this cleanser. Deep clean without harshing your skin's vibes with this creamy clay 2-in-1 based cleanser from ohii. Gentle formula can be used as a cleanser or hydrating non-drying mask that maintains moisture and refreshes without stripping away natural oils. Equipped with a soft, scrubby silicone tip, perfect for cleaning right down to the pores without being harsh. Coconut oil plus shea butter provides rich moisture with pineapple, papaya, and licorice root, brighten the appearance of skin. So this cleanser seems pretty sweet. Seems like it has some nice ingredients on it based on that description, and I will go ahead and show you the cleanser. So this is the cleanser, and as described on the website, there is this silicone rubbery tip which seems really soft and nice. So basically you open it up and then you squeeze out the product and massage it onto your skin with the rubby tip, which seems pretty cool, and it seems to have some nice moisturizing ingredients. It can also double as a mask, which seems pretty cool. I'm just going to use it as a cleanser. So I'm squeezing. So I think in addition to opening it up, you have to kind of twist it to open it, which is nice so you don't lose a lot of product or things don't spill out when you don't want them to. So now it's set to on, and now I'm going to go ahead and squeeze out the product. So you can see the product coming out of the tube there. It definitely just looks like a creamy clay kind of cleanser. I didn't really say to like wet your skin before. The instructions just say twist to open and use exfoliator brush to massage into face and neck, rinse clean. So for now I'm just going to rub this onto my skin, kind of see how it looks there. It smells really good. Really like clean, fresh scent. Like a little bit fruity, but like mostly just kind of like fresh and clean. So this does feel pretty nice. It definitely feels like a nice gentle exfoliation. It reminds me of the Foreo brush. Like it's very similar because that has like those silicone bristles, but this you're just manually massaging the product in. Does feel very nice. Like I don't want to stop putting this on. Okay, so I have the product, the cleanser on my skin. I'm going to go ahead and add a little water to my skin, and I will be right back to kind of show you how it looks once it's lathered up. So this is how the product looks once it's lathered up. I just added a little bit of water to it. As you can see, it doesn't really foam up. It definitely has that smooth clay feel to it. It feels like it is nice and moisturizing, just feels really smooth on the skin. And again, it doesn't really foam up. It just kind of spreads on the skin. I could see how this would be a really nice mask. And my skin, now sitting here after just applying a little bit of water on it, it feels really cooling to the skin. So far it feels really nice. It feels like it would be hydrating. My only concern is that it does have a really nice fragrance, but it is pretty strongly fragranced. So I feel like that might be, in terms of skincare, it might be a little irritating to some people. I'm not sure if it's gonna be irritating to me yet, but I'm going to rinse it off and I will be right back. Okay, so I have rinsed the cleanser off of my skin. My skin definitely feels nice and smooth, and I really want to try that as a mask now. My moisturizer and serum on, and I am going to go ahead and go back to the products I have from ohii. This is the Bright Eyes Beautiful Eyes Wake Up Pen. So the description of this product on the Urban Outfitters website says, brighter eyes than ever with ohii's Wake Up Pen, your new essential for a dewy illuminated look. Comes in a duo of shades formulated just for you. Peach adds warm pigment and pearl infuses translucent luminosity. Vegan blend is reflective and bright but never glittery for a super fresh face look we love. Also doubles as a highlighter at cheekbones and nose. So apparently, and it's also moisturizing formula. I'm just dropping stuff everywhere. I have a little tiny table. I need like a nice desk for this YouTube filming setup, but we're working with what we got for the time being. So this is what it looks like. The packaging again is super like minimalist and cute. They only had literally one Wake Up Pen left, and it was in the pearl one. I don't even know what this one's like because the testers were in the peach, which was weird as hell that they had like one of the pearl and no testers for it. But I figured this would be like a fun thing to try anyway. So this is what it looks like. It kind of has like a sponge tip applicator to it, and it's one of these like clicky pens. So let's go ahead and click this up. So it takes a long time, as always with these products, to kind of get stuff out. It's starting to come out. So I'm not sure if you could see that, but you can kind of see like the products coming out there. Definitely has like a pearly look to it. So let's get this under the eyes and see how it goes. So I'm just like starting to like press it in mostly on my under eye area. Again, it feels very nice and cooling. So that's one eye compared to the other. So this eye doesn't have any yet on it. And that one does. It definitely just like leaves like a nice sheen underneath the eye. It's not, doesn't really have any color to it, which I don't really mind too much. It's a very subtle sheen. So I feel like this could be nice just kind of like to add some luminosity to the skin in the morning. Mostly if you don't really want to wear any makeup. It just adds like a little bit of a nice luminosity. So I almost feel like this is more like in lieu of a concealer type of product rather than something that's necessarily like an eye cream or has a lot of skincare benefits. I'm not really reading too much in terms of like the skincare benefits in the description. I think it's more just for like the sheen of it. It does feel nice on the skin. It feels definitely like nice and like moisturizing. I think it did say it was moisturizing. So it's just something to kind of hydrate your eyes in the morning. A little bit of a cooling and a little bit of like the dewy glow. Okay, so I have primed my lids and I'm gonna go ahead and get started on an eye look. I have this palette here. This is the Treasure Eye Palette by ohii Beauty. Again, nice cardboard minimalist packaging. Over here, it's just kind of interesting. Instead of just listing the name of the palette, it says, let your eyes shine brighter. Warm, hyper-pigmented shades to wear alone or blend together. So this is what the palette looks like inside. It has a little plastic sleeve. This is what the palette looks like inside. I feel like this is a beautiful color scheme, and with my new pinky coral lavender hair, I feel like this color scheme was definitely made for my new hair. So I definitely want to rock this out and test out this formula. So there is no like setting shade, so I'm just gonna go right in. I'm not gonna set my primer. Hopefully this won't stick too much. So I'm gonna start with the shade Petunia right here. It's just like kind of like a mid-tone pink matte. There are 4 matte shades in the palette and 10 shimmers. So 4 mattes to 10 shimmers. So I think that's a pretty good mix of shades. It gives you like a nice enough range without that like highlighting setting shade. It gives you like a nice range of matte shades to kind of define, to build depth into your look and your crease work. And then you have different shimmery shades to choose for different effects, which I think is nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on my crease here. This pink shade. So for the fact that I didn't set that primer down on my lid, I feel like this is blending really nicely. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is hyper pigmented, but the pigment is there. It's definitely showing up, so I can appreciate that, but it's also not so pigmented that I feel like overwhelmed already by the eyeshadow. And I think this is like a really pretty shade too. Like I feel like I don't come across like mid-tone pinks in palettes too much like this, just like straight up pink shades. I feel like this is really pretty. It's like a slightly deeper than a normal transition, but works pretty well for that. And it is blending out really nicely. Like usually I definitely would have grabbing even when I set. Even when I would like set down, I usually have grabbing when I start to apply color shades to my eyes, and this one isn't really doing that too much, which is really nice. And I'm building up the color, but it's not hard to do so. Like, I think it's like a nice level pigmentation. These shadows, I guess it's like a little bit, it's not really too powdery. Like maybe just a little bit of kick up, but it doesn't seem too loose in the pan. And also the warm tone palette definitely seemed to have more mattes in it. I don't even know if the cool tone one had any. If it did, it was like 1 or 2. But it didn't really look like it had any mattes in it. It had like a pretty light seafoamy green kind of shade, and it was pretty, but it was just kind of like these shimmers. It seemed like a real old school kind of palette, and I was just like, I thought this one was way prettier. So I'm actually gonna kind of mix these 2 mid-tone or like slightly deeper matte shades over here. The shade Anise, which is like a terracotta kind of color, and then the shade Garnet, which is very similar but more of like a mauve kind of color. So I'm just gonna kind of go between those 2 to create a custom color. Cause like I wasn't sure if I wanted like just the mauve or just the terracotta. Like I kind of like both of those. So I'm just gonna go between the 2 of them. And I'm gonna go underneath where I put that Petunia shade, the pink shade. Just like more of my natural crease and not dragging it in as much to my inner corner. So I'm definitely starting to get like some nice depth there. And you can see in the pans here that Garnet shade, especially Anise too a little bit, but this shade right here is like super powdery. So there's a little bit of difference in formula between these darker shades and then the Petunia, but I mean, it doesn't bother me too much. I'm not too OCD about like the palette looking pretty after using it. I like when they look a little bit beat up, so that's fine. I'm not getting too much fallout on my actual face. Yeah, I don't really have any fallout on my actual face, so that's nice. Everything blended is blending pretty decently too. I'm just gonna go back into Petunia just to kind of blend on the outer edges a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the darkest shade in the palette, the darkest matte and the darkest shade in the palette. This shade is called Charcoal, which I think is a strange name for it. It's more of like a chocolatey brown. I would call it chocolate rather than charcoal, but yeah, and this one's pretty powdery too. So I'm just gonna go like dot that right on my outer V just to add depth in that area. I just wanna keep it really concentrated in that area. That is like a really pigmented shade. That one's like more pigmented than the others. I guess they're all pretty pigmented. This one is just like, whoa, like instant pigment, which is nice. And again, no fallout on the face, which is amazing. For such a powdery, like deep shade, to not have fallout on the face is really cool. Just really concentrating that right in that one spot. I hate it when you go to deepen and then you kind of like deepened your whole crease and like the whole look changes and you don't really maintain those beautiful crease colors you put down. I feel like that's something that I struggle with, but so I'm gonna try to be really focused on just this one, blending it out in just that one little area. Okay, so that is my crease done, the outer V. I'm always not sure if I blended enough. Again, I feel like that cardinal rule is when you think you're done blending, blend for another 45 minutes and you still wouldn't be blended enough. But I'm gonna stop there for now with the crease work and the matte shades, and I'm gonna move on to my lid. So I'm not really sure which shade I want to use on the lid. There's a beautiful like old gold type of shade called cardamom over here. There's a purpley shade, pinky purple shade, aubergine, cinnamon, which is just a little bit more slightly coppery, bronzy kind of color, and pomegranate, which is like a little bit more like rusty, bronzy kind of color, and zinnia, which is just like a pinky seashell pink kind of color. So let's see, what do we want to do? Like the colors I'm really attracted to are cardamom and aubergine. So I think I'm gonna put aubergine in the center of my lid and cardamom kind of more in the inner lid. I know it's not really like an inner corner shade, this cardamom, but I'm gonna try to do that, and maybe I'll put a little bit of zinnia in the inner corner and see how that goes. I'm gonna wet my brush. Actually, what I'll do first is I'll apply it dry. I'll apply aubergine in the center of my lid. I nicked pomegranate, which is so sad. But I'm gonna apply aubergine on the center of my lid. I'll apply it dry at first just to kind of see how it delivers onto the lid dry. So this shadow has a little bit of kickback. It's not as much as like garnet and charcoal, I would say. Those matte, deeper matte shades, but let's just see how this goes on the lid dry first. So I do have a very tiny bit of fallout from that charcoal shade. Really nothing too bad. At first I didn't think I had any, but it's a little tiny bit, like nothing. So that is how aubergine looks on the lid. There is that really deep charcoal-y color more in the outer corner, but it is delivering a nice amount of pigment. It's not really too foiled, it's just like a slight satiny shimmer. So I'm just applying this to both lids dry, and then I'm just gonna go over it a little bit more wet to see if we could build it up a little more. It's not really necessary, but just wanna see how it performs wet too. Coat my brush in this aubergine shade, and then I'm just gonna slightly wet my brush. I am using the Brow Mysture facial spray by Avion, which is my favorite. I love that it's actually just water and a nice fine mist. It's not a setting spray, which could irritate the eyes sometimes. So that's applied wet. It definitely makes it pop a little bit more. So that's nice. It builds up the pigment and it makes it a little bit more intense and a little bit more shimmery. But it definitely works well dry too, and it doesn't seem to be disrupting it. Sometimes you can, with a wet, sometimes you'll wet the brush and it kind of makes it harder to blend and things like that. It doesn't seem like it's doing that with this. It just seems like it's making it pop just a little bit more, which is what wetting the brush is good for, and so that's perfect. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go and dry it first and then wet. Oh, that's really pretty. Look at that. Definitely pops like right off. And that's an idea of how it looks dry. It's not super cleanly blended on the inner corner area or the inner lid area. I'm just gonna go in it with it wet so I can finish that off. I feel like the shade might potentially be really foiled and epic with wet, so let's try that out. Yeah, do you see how much it like picks up? Like it just gets really kicked up a notch. So that is that shade Cardamom on my inner lid corner area. So that looks pretty cool. I'm digging that. I'm going to go into Zinnia, which is this shade here. It's like a very light shimmer. I'm just gonna use my finger with this one. Yeah, it's like it's like really subtle. It's like a subtly peach with like a little sheen to it. It's not really too shimmery or metallic. I'm just gonna pop that in my inner corner with my pinky. It's not really even gonna do much, I don't think. So that is Zinnia on my inner corner. You definitely see a little bit of that little peachy shift there, so that's not bad. So that is the top part of my lid done. I'm going to go ahead and conceal my under eye area, and I will be right back to kind of finish up the eyes and the lower lash line and stuff like that. Okay, so I am back. I pretty much finished the rest of my face. I did my under eye concealer, put on foundation, I put on some blush, and I'm going off with the glitter highlight. I have the Kat Von D Metal Crush palette on my face. I didn't film it, I just kind of wanted to finish up with the ohii products and kind of get to my lips and stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and finish on my lower lash line. I think what I'm gonna do for the lower lash line is I am going to go in the shade Garnet for the most part, for like 3/4 of my lower lash line, and then I'll use the shade Copper just like as a lower inner corner highlight on the bottom of my lower lash line. So let's go ahead and do that. So Garnet looks super pretty on the lower lash line. It's nice and pigmented, just adds nice like pinky warmth. I'm just gonna finish the inner part of my lower lash line with that shade Copper. Just like a little peak of shimmer on the lower lash line, which is nice. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and finish my eyes with mascara. The ohii line does have a couple of mascaras. They have a regular mascara, and they also have like a skinny wand, like I guess like a lower lash line mascara, which I really wanted to try. But the Urban Outfitters I went to did not have either of those mascaras, unfortunately. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the Double Decker Lashes Mascara by Butter London. This is one of my favorite mascaras for sure. Okay, so that is the eyes finished. I really do love how they came out. I have the lip liner by MAC called Boldly Bare on my lips, and I am going to go ahead and go into the Pucker Up gummy glosses. So these looked really, really beautiful when I saw them online, and really beautiful in person. These are super duper sparkly. Okay, so I could not resist the glosses. They also had matte liquid lips, but I feel like I have so many matte liquid lips, I just wanted to get a couple of the glosses instead because these look really unique and beautiful. They're almost like kind of like a gloss lip topper, I would say. So these are the two that I have here. So I have the shade, let's see, so this is the shade Opaline Dream, is this one. This is just that really pretty like duochrome-y, it's like blue shifty duochrome-y heaven. Basically it's like the most fucking beautiful looking lip gloss I've ever seen. You see that there? It's just so glittery and like duochrome and reflective and shiny. Really super beautiful. And the next one I have here is called Rose Quartz. So that is Rose Quartz. It's not quite as intense as Opaline Dream. I would say that one definitely looks a little bit more wearable. I think that's the one I'm gonna go ahead and go with today, the Rose Quartz. They had one more in like a gold shade, a gold sparkly shade, but I feel like I have other glosses like that, so these two looked really unique for my collection, so I wanted to try these. So I'm going to go ahead with the Rose Gold Gloss. And this has kind of like a little bit of like a pastry, like almost like a little bit chocolatey, or even like maybe like chocolate and vanilla. Like I can't tell which, which is kind of weird. And the applicator is kind of nice. It's just like kind of like a doe foot, but you can see it's kind of like a little bit like fatter. Like the doe foot like angles even more precisely, it looks like. So that is the lip gloss on my lips. There's a little bit of a sheen. I was honestly expecting a little bit more, but it definitely adds like a nice little sheen to the lips. I guess that's supposed to be the more wearable one, that Rose Quartz one. This Opaline Dream I definitely want to try offline because it looks incredible just like on its own. Or even this one on its own might be a little bit more intense than Rose Quartz, but that's what it looks like. It has like a really sweet candy kind of pastry kind of scent to it. Pretty typical for a gloss. It definitely doesn't feel sticky. So overall it's a pretty nice gloss, adds a nice little sheen to the lips. So that is the completed look. I really like how it came out. So before I finish here, there are a couple more products I picked up from ohii. I have the Daydream hand cream in the shade Citrus Tea. They had a couple of more shades, or a couple of more scents. I think they had like a rose one. So on the back of it, it says soft and subtle, screen safe, apply to hands as needed. So I'm just gonna put this on my hands just to see how it goes. So again, it's like citrus tea. It smells very similar to the cleanser to me. It's like that kind of like very light citrusy, very clean scent. It was my favorite out of the scents. They had rose, which I feel like I definitely have like a ton of rose hand creams already, so I kind of passed on that one. And I don't know. The other one was like, I think, oh, it was an almond one. And again, I have rose and almond hand creams. Like I've had those a bunch of different times in different brands, so I wasn't as interested. I felt like this one was a, kind of like a more unique scent for a hand cream. It's just very light, very clean. I do love the fragrance on that. I also have, I can't get it open right now, and I already have my lips on. I should have done this during like the skincare part of this video, but I completely flaked on that and blanked out. But I have this agave lip jelly. So they had two shades in, or two scents in this. It's just a clear like lip balm salve kind of product. It's definitely clear. There's no color to it. I tried it in store. So I have the agave one here. They also had a rose one. Again, rose on the lips was just a little like not quite my cup of tea. This one has like a little bit of a sweeter scent to it. And then mint. I'm not a big fan of mint at all in like any form. So to me, agave was like a nice one. I really love like these lip balms when I go to work. I don't really wear makeup, but like my lips get really dry in the morning and stuff like that and just irritated. So I like throwing these on. I'll usually do like a depuffing eye gel like on the bus. I just kind of, those are my little like TLC self-care moments that I have during the week while I'm commuting to work. So I've been using the Kapari lip glossy. That's like a beautiful coconut scented like lip gloss slash ointment. So that's pretty nice. And this is kind of like a similar type of thing that I can kind of mix it up with. So I'm excited to try this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and have a good one. Thanks a lot. Bye.